Good morning. Welcome to First Church Unitarian on this bright sunny morning, both to those of you in the congregation and to those who are joining us online. We're thrilled that you're here with us today. And I'm going to dive right into what's going on because there's a long list. First, I would ask everybody, look at your community matters. There's a lot of interesting stuff, useful stuff, important stuff in there. So I'm not going to get to everything, certainly not give everything the amount of emphasis it requires. I'm going to start by saying that Thea has just let me know that she still needs help with RE, and you should email her if you're available, and please, pitch in and help. The auction starts next Sunday on April 28th. It'll run for a week through Sunday, May 5th, finishing at 6 p.m. on Sunday, May 5th. There are still a few days to submit donations for the auction, but they must be in by 9 a.m. on Wednesday, April 24th. There are more details in Community Matters. And today, Bill Mitchell will be selling raffle tickets for the lottery board, just the lottery board, in the vestry during coffee hour. So you can see Bill for those details. Next Friday, April 26th, from 6 to 9 p.m. is the FCU All Ages Game Night and Potluck. I think you can see Susan Tordella-Williams if you have questions about that, or Monica. And just show up, it's a lot of fun. An announcement about the FCU annual camping trip. It will be held at Massasoit State Park in Taunton on the weekend of August 23rd. Which means that those of you who want to get reservations should do it this week. I think you can make reservations up to 4 months in advance, so that would be April 23rd, I guess. You can see Juliana Miller if you have more questions, or you could check in with the Rosses. Next Sunday, on April 28th, Linda Kaler is going to be doing a letter writing event downstairs. Let Linda know if you will join her so she can have enough letters and envelopes and stamps and everything to cover that. Starting in May, Phyllis Terry and Prizzle Dumka are kicking off a support group for parents of adult children. They hope to start on May 8th, so see either Phyllis or Prizzle if you have questions or plan to join them. A couple weeks from now, on Saturday, May 4th, we'll have a concert in the sanctuary from Emma's Revolution, singing with Claudia Schmitz and Sally Rogers. Tickets are available for $25 in advance or $30 at the door. You can see me for tickets. I have tickets here. Tickets are also available online, and tickets are available for streaming. So if you can't be here, but you want to see the concert, let us know and we can get you a streaming ticket. I need people to help on the concert day. So you may have seen a listserv message go out yesterday. I can use assistance with setup and breakdown. I need ushers. I need people who will sell and help with raffle tickets, parking assistance, people to provide baked goods. I've already heard from some of you. Thank you very much. And people who will be selling baked goods and beverages at intermission. So let me know if you're able to help. Just an announcement of kind of a change of our normal approach to doing things. We would normally have our budget review in advance of the May 19th annual meeting on May 5th. And we will have it on May 5th, but we can't have it immediately after the church service because May 5th is when the auction closes and there will be a raffle basket drawing after church on May 5th. So we will be doing the budget review by Zoom in the afternoon of May 5th at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'll send out the link to that meeting sometime in the next week or so. And I think that's everything on my list. So please silence your phones and join us after the service for coffee in the vestry. And now I'm going to get off the stage and open things up for a glimmer.
Hello, I'm Kris Ersland, and I have my auction glimmer for you today. Actually, I have a few auction glimmers. These are some of my favorite memories from past auctions. Firehouse band concerts, family vacations in Maine at Callie's house or the Hartz's house, Bev's enthusiastic bidding for a handyman, learning how to shuck oysters after offering an oyster dinner with Deb and Peter and Phyllis, who don't do oysters. I'm pretty good at it now. People paying to eat lutefisk. It's a traditional Norwegian dish made with salted, dried cod soaked in lye. And people did pay for it. I have several pieces of art that hang in my home. I remember bidders wearing paper bags while they're bidding. Picnics at Tanglewood. I've now graduated to being part of the cooking team for that. And hosting outdoor movie nights, starting during the pandemic. We only got rained out once. A lot of my favorite memories are from events, either the auctions themselves or events where I won a seat. And I will add my vote of approval for expanding the raffle to include seats at dinners and such. I think the more opportunities for more people, the better. I hope there is some really hot bidding this year, and I hope that everyone will be able to get into the excitement knowing that a raffle ticket is a chance to win one of these hot items. The auction is and should be an event for our whole community. Thank you.
Our call to worship this morning is the Prayer of Co-Creation by Reverend Lynn Cox. Creative Spirit, source of life and love, we give thanks for the beauty of this day and for the company of those assembled here. Thank you for the breezes of change, clearing our heads and bringing fresh ideas. May they cleanse our minds of the oppressions and isms that divide us. Thank you for the flame of hope, the heat of righteous anger, the warmth of compassion, and the fire of commitment. May they bubble the cauldrons of transformation. Thank you for the oceans of love, rivers of connection, tears of relief, and pools of serenity. May healing waters flow over us and through us and among us, wearing down the sharp rocks of despair to bring joy in the morning. Thank you for the good earth beneath us, around us, and within us. May we take this clay and co-create a new realm of justice and beauty. Thank you for all these and more. We accept our gifts and commit to building, sculpting, painting, singing and dancing them to life, to abundant life. So be it. Blessed be, and amen.
I'd like to invite Eloise to come forward to light our chalice, a symbol of our faith. The words of our covenant are in your order of service and on the screen. Please join me. Please join me in the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and spirit is law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to everyone online and in the sanctuary. Welcome to those with tails and those without tails. Whether this is your first time worshiping with us or whether you have done so for years, your presence in this gathering is a blessing to us all. I am Reverend Kathy Schmitz. My pronouns are she and her, and I am serving as your sabbatical minister here at First Church Unitarian until Reverend Laura's return in the middle of next month. If you are new to us, a special welcome to you. Please check out Community Matters for all that's going on, as well as for ways to get connected with the community and to learn more about this congregation and Unitarian Universalism. After the service, I hope that those of you who are in the building will be able to join us for coffee hour in the vestry. Just follow the stream out the door and you will find your way. And I'll just take this opportunity to invite you one more time to set your devices to worship mode. And now will you please rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. We'll do the first 4 verses.
Can you hear me? I know. No? Closer. Okay, how's that? Okay. Sofia Valdez, future Prez. Sofia Valdez is just awesome, by the way. So, if you don't know her, this is your introduction. Sofia was a baby who got things done, helping her family before she turned 1. She and Abuela went out every week to help elderly friends around Blue River Creek who couldn't get out and about on their own with no place to gather or stuck home alone. Raking leaves, taking pets for a walk, or just dropping by for a treat and a talk. Sofia Valdez did as much as she could for her family and friends in her whole neighborhood. A dreamer, a doer, a real-life go-getter. Most people liked good, but Sofia liked better. Each morning, Abuela walked Sofia to class. They walked home again along the Blue River Pass, making plans, munching cookies, Abuela and girl, except for that Tuesday when Pup saw a squirrel. With a howl, Pup took off, racing all through the town, under, over, under, beneath, and all around. Sofia scrambled to try to keep up with the hollering man and the bellowing Pup. Up the squirrel ran to the top of the hill, made of leftover junk from the local landfill. They reached the tip-top of a mountain of trash, which jiggled and broke with an ear-splitting crash. Down they all tumbled and hit with a thud on a moldy old pumpkin surrounded by mud. Ouch! Cried Abuelo. He struggled to stand. A dangerous mess, he said, grasping her hand. The next day, Sofia walked to school solo, but it wasn't the same without her abuelo. This is not right, declared young Sofia, who glared at Mount Trashmore and got an idea. The very next morning, at dawn, she planted a sign in the front lawn. She stood back and smiled, and Pup gave a bark. And the sign says, "Get rid of Mount Trashmore. Let's build a new park." Each one of her neighbors had something to say about benches and fountains and places to play, meeting spots, gardens, a basket for bees, a rubber duck pond, and a kiosk for cheese. She drew every thought on her map of the park, which was perfectly perfect by 1:45. She drifted to sleep in her soft, cozy bed. Then, bam! She woke up when a thought smacked her head. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized each one of her neighbors had said, "Let me know when it's done." They all thought Sofia could build it alone. But how could one girl do so much on her own? The weight of that thought made her tender heart ache as night thunder growled and she lay wide awake. Then dawn brought a storm and a gloomy sky wept, and the heartsick Sofia finally slept. Abuelo baked cookies when Sophie got up. He gave her a bagful and sneaked one to Pup. He blinked back a tear as he hugged his Sofia. "For courage," he whispered. "Te amo, ma vida." Sofia's knees wobbled. She felt weak inside. She looked at his ankle and quite nearly cried. Though she didn't feel brave or courageous at all, Sofia Valdez went to face City Hall. The mayor's office sent her to room 401, the Blue Creek River Department of Fun, which sent her downstairs to room 302, the Office of Duck Ponds and Cool Things to Do, to the Office of Monkeys, the Department of Cheese, the Division of Fountains, the Meeting of Bees, then down to the basement, so musty and cramped, where all the town's papers were sorted and stamped, and that's where the clerk said what no one else did. You can't build a new park. You're only a kid. The words smacked Sofia deep down in her heart. Her plan was kiboshed before it could start. I think, said Sofia, I think the law's wrong. But her second-grade voice didn't sound very strong. The clerk said, clearly, it cannot be done. Do you have any questions? Sofia said, one. If you were me, and I was you, and he was your grandpa, what would you do? Well, said the clerk. Then she said nothing at all. She thought and she thought, then she sent out a call to every employee at City Hall. The entire government of Blue River Creek crammed into the office to hear Sophie speak, but her words jumbled and her cheeks turned bright red as dozens of emotions rushed into her head. Her heart beat so loudly she thought it would crack. The crowd leaned in closer. Sophie leaned back. Then her arms brushed the edge of the old cookie sack. And that was the moment when Sofia first knew being brave means doing the things you must do, though your heart cracks with fear, though you're just in grade 2. She took a deep breath, looked the mayor in the eye, and though her knees wobbled, she held her head high. Sofia started talking. She spelled out her plan and why it all mattered and how it began. And once she got rolling, she had lots to say about meeting spots, monkeys, and places to play, and other ideas for things they could do to help the town elders and other folks too. She had thoughts on the library, thoughts on the zoo, perhaps a way to combine the two. Oops. And, all right, said the mayor. Go start a petition. If town wants a new park, we'll form a commission. So young Sofia got right to work with some help from her family and pup and the clerk. And they're all carrying signs, let's build a park. Look at them all. Then others joined in, not all but a few, like Miss Lilia Greer and the kids in grade 2. There were hangings and hearings and surveys and taxes to figure, then bulldozers, cranes, and big blue bigger digger. They all built that park. That was how it got done, with the hard work of, by, and for everyone. But it began with the dream of one person, just one, who laced up her shoes and then led the way to help Blue River Creek get a new place to play. Now, every evening, till long after dark, the town comes together at Citizens Park. They all hold this truth to be self-evident, that Sofia Valdez could grow up to be president. Until then, Sofia, that real-life go-getter, helps Blue River Creek get better and better. And we can all do the same.
As we gather in community, we carry with us life's joys and life's sorrows. Sometimes sharing these in community can help. If you are in the sanctuary and have something to share, we invite you to gather on either side of the pews and then come to the mic to share just briefly. Our worship associate will light a candle for you. If you would prefer a microphone to be brought to you, please raise your hand. For those online who would like to share, please indicate by raising your hands using reactions. And if you are in need of additional support today, please know that today's lay pastoral minister this morning is Linda Kaler. Now, with open hearts, we share what is on our minds today. And light one more candle for those joys and concerns that remain unspoken but are nonetheless on our minds and in our hearts. And in this moment of quiet, may our hearts open to hope and healing. May our minds open to peace and possibility. May we hold all these in love and tenderness so that this congregation may be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and the weeks ahead. The Jewish celebration of Passover begins tomorrow evening. This important festival of freedom honors the liberation of the Hebrew people from slavery in Egypt. While current geopolitical events can give us pause, in our words for reflection this morning, Alla Renee Bozarth, who was one of the first 11 women ordained as an Episcopal priest, reminds us that the transition from slavery to freedom has both an external physical component and also an internal cognitive and emotional aspect. So I invite you to take a moment to bring yourself fully to this time and the place where you are. Relax your body. Calm your mind. Feel your breath flowing in, flowing out. Breathe and hear these words. Pack nothing. Bring only your determination to serve and your willingness to be free. Don't wait for the bread to rise. Take nourishment for the journey, but eat standing. Be ready to move at a moment's notice. Do not hesitate to leave your old ways behind. Fear, silence, submission. Only surrender to the need of the time, to love justice and walk humbly with your God. Begin quickly before you have time to sink back into old slavery. Set out in the dark. I will send fire to warm you and encourage you. I will be with you in the fire, and I will be with you in the cloud. I will give you dreams in the desert to guide you safely home to that place you have not yet seen. I am sending you into the wilderness to make a new way and to learn my ways more deeply. Some of you will be so changed by weathers and wandering that even your closest friends will have to learn your features as though for the first time. Some of you will not change at all. Some of you will be abandoned by your dearest loves and misunderstood by those who have known you since birth and feel abandoned by you. Some will find new friendship in unlikely faces, and old friends as faithful and true as the pillar of God's flame. Sing songs as you go. Hold close together. You may at times grow confused and lose your way. Touch each other and keep telling stories. Make maps as you go, remembering the way back from before you were born. So you will be only the first of many waves of deliverance on these desert seas. It is the first of many beginnings, your Paschal tide. Remain true to this mystery. Pass on the whole story. Do not go back. I am with you now. I am waiting for you. Let us be together in shared silence. The focus for today's service was inspired by a TED Talk presented by members of the Racial Justice Action Committee, or RJAC, at their gathering in February. In October of 2022, David Lammy, a member of Parliament in the United Kingdom, a Black man, and a leading agenda setter for racial and social justice in the United Kingdom, delivered his talk. Climate change can't happen without racial justice. Members of RJAC will share just a portion of his remarks. Later this week, I'll send out to the listserv the link for his talk for any who would like to take a closer listen.
For too long, those of us who cared about racial justice treated environmental justice as though it was elitist. And at the same time, the leaders who did focus on climate change were usually white and rarely bothered to enlist the support of Black voices in their work. Even progressive allies sometimes took our votes for granted and assumed that our community didn't care or wouldn't understand. The truth is the opposite is true. Black people breathe in the most toxic air relative to the general population. We are more likely to suffer from respiratory diseases like asthma, and it is people of color who are more likely to suffer in the climate crisis. This is no coincidence. The cheapest housing tends to be next to the busiest roads, and many of the lowest paid jobs are in the most polluting industries. People of color consistently lie at the bottom of the housing, educational, and employment ladders. This story connects Black communities across the world, from London to Lagos to LA. Black Americans are exposed to 56% more pollution than they cause. White Americans breathe 17% less air pollution than they produce. It gives a whole new meaning to the Black Lives Matter slogan, "I can't breathe."
We all rightly know the name of George Floyd, who was murdered by the police. But we should also know the name of Alla Kissy Deborah. Ella, a 9-year-old mixed-race girl from southeast London, was killed by a fatal asthma attack. Evidence suggests this was caused partly by the unlawful levels of air pollution near her home. And it is not only urban areas where Black lives are disproportionately under threat from climate change. My parents' home country of Guyana is one of the most vulnerable countries on earth to the effects of climate change. So far, Guyana has contributed relatively little to the climate emergency, but it's one of the countries facing the most serious threats from it. While the annual carbon dioxide emissions per head in the United States is a staggering 16.5 metric tons, in Guyana it's just 2.6. It is a pattern repeated across the globe. Those countries that have contributed least to the climate breakdown, mainly in the global south, will suffer the most from floods, droughts, and rising temperatures. This is a pattern of suffering with a long history.
David Lammy was an incredible speaker on this TED Talk. He said the exploitation of our planet's natural resources has always been tied to the exploitation of people of color. The logic of colonization was to extract valuable resources from our planet through force, paying no attention to its secondary effects. The climate crisis is, in a way, colonialism's natural conclusion.
Morning. Our April Share the Plate speaker is going to be International Institute of New England, IINE, and they help refugees. And our Share the Plate speaker, Rosemary, will have a table set up in the vestry after the service if anybody would like to hear more. So Rosemary Barnett-Young serves as the International Institute of New England in Boston through the Massachusetts Commonwealth Core Program. Rosemary is part of the IINE Community Services team, where her roles include overseeing cultural orientation and IINE's Workforce Orientation Workshop. She has led several initiatives for IINE's Boston Volunteer Program, including a digital literacy course for newcomers taught by volunteers. So we are going to start with a short video, and then please join me in giving a warm FCU welcome to Rosemary.
Okay. Can everyone hear me all right? Yes. Okay. So as she mentioned, my name's Rosemary, and I'm here from the International Institute of New England to talk to you all. We are a nonprofit, and our focus is refugees and immigrants. We have a few sites, so we have one in Lowell, one in Manchester, and one in Boston. What you just saw is our centennial video, so we're very excited. This is our 100th year, which is a big year for us. So we're very excited to be here, especially on this special year for us. Our mission statement is to create opportunities for refugees and immigrants to succeed through resettlement, education, career advancement, and pathways to citizenship. While many things have changed since we were founded, that foundation remains the same. We just want to ease people's transition into life in Massachusetts in any way we can. We try to provide a holistic approach, so we have different people on our team who work with different aspects of cases. We have case managers. As she mentioned, we have orientations. We have free English classes of a variety of levels, even a literacy class. We have employment services and career navigators, a number of different courses, and lots of things and ways for people to get involved in the community, which has been great. We also have recently shifted our services a bit due to situations in Haiti. A large number of our clients at the moment are Haitian, and lots of them end up in the shelters. We don't provide our entirety of services to them, as their status is not a refugee, it's a humanitarian parolee, but at the moment we're shifting. We've essentially started a new branch of us, which is shelter services, and we're currently in a contract with the state to hopefully resettle 50 families, get them out of that and into homes in the area, so we're very excited about that. We're very happy to have your support, and I'm really happy to be here today. Everything you're doing, highlighting our cause, means a lot, so thank you for that. And as she mentioned, I'll be out there after. If you have any questions, we have some flyers. Just want to say hi. I'd love to have you, so thank you.
and please join me in our community response. We are grateful for the opportunity to give and serve, and grateful for the gifts we have received. May this affirm the ministries of our church community, both within and beyond these walls.
It's a story variously told, but commonly referred to as the parable of the river. Perhaps you've heard one of its versions. The people of a village were out working in the fields alongside a river when, quite surprisingly, somebody noticed a baby floating downstream. Quickly, someone jumped in and rescued the baby. Others dried the baby off and provided it a soft bed and food. The villagers were still discussing the strange phenomena when another baby was spotted floating down the river. This child, too, was cared for. As the villagers continued their work, more and more babies came floating downstream. It was taking more and more of the villagers to care for them, and most of the village was now distracted from the task they'd come to the fields for in the first place. Suddenly, two teenagers broke away from the group and started running along the riverbank. "Hey, where are you going? We need you here." "We're going upstream," they said, "to find out who keeps throwing these babies into the water." The world is awash with challenges, and we could spend all of our time dealing with the impact of all that is as it should not be. And yet we are called to do more. More? But we're already so busy. Take a breath. Yes, we are busy, aren't we? But I share with you one of my favorite pieces of scripture that comes from the opening passage of Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Chapter 1, in which we are introduced to Winnie the Pooh and some bees, and the stories begin. Here is Edward Bear coming downstairs now. Bump, bump, bump on the back of his head, behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs. But sometimes he feels that there really is another way, if only he could stop bumping for a moment and think of it. And then he feels perhaps there isn't. Anyway, here he is now at the bottom, ready to be introduced to you, Winnie the Pooh. Now and again, we are all well served to stop amidst our busyness and our bumping, to look around, to listen, to ask questions, or even to just take a breath. Yes, we need people to tend the fields, and we need people to pull babies from rivers, and we need someone to go upstream and find out who is throwing all those babies in the river. Translated to congregational experience, we might say this. We have people who tend and maintain the building, and others who head up our care for one another. These people are important. They do important work. They deserve our thanks. We have people who serve the wider community, doing such things as community dinners and collecting and delivering useful items to immigrants, as an example. These people and what they do are important. They deserve our thanks. We have people who ask hard questions, who lobby and advocate and educate on important issues of the day. These people and what they do are important. They deserve our thanks. Let's stop right here, and I invite you to turn and thank each other for all that you do. I'll wait. As we open our hearts to each other and feel and express our gratitude, we have the opportunity to appreciate that the efforts of all of us will be needed if we are to create the world of our dreams. Too often in organizations and in society at large, we focus narrowly, and we come to believe that we and what we care about is in competition with others and what they care about. But if we stop bumping for a moment, if we look and listen and appreciate and breathe, we can find ways to pull all together in the same direction. After all, it's not the world of one dream, it's the world of all of our dreams. A peaceful world, a just world, a sustainable world. A rich example for this Earth Day weekend is the way that social and justice issues support one another. In his impactful TED Talk that we heard from earlier, in under 10 minutes, David Laramie, Member of Parliament, lays out his thesis that climate change can't happen without racial justice. As you heard, for too long, environmental and climate activists and racial justice activists have operated independently, with each falsely assuming that the other does not share or even understand their concerns. Laramie points out, Black Americans are exposed to 56% more pollution than they cause. White Americans breathe 17% less air pollution than they produce. As he says, it gives a whole new meaning to the Black Lives Matter slogan, I can't breathe. He highlights that those who are most at risk from climate change are rarely the ones causing it. Using as an example his parents' home country of Guyana, he notes that while the annual carbon dioxide emissions per head in the United States is a staggering 16.5 tons, in Guyana it's just 2.6. It's a pattern repeated across the globe. Laramie calls for new coalition building led by those most impacted, along with allies. These coalitions will recognize that a climate change movement is about protecting the planet and protecting the people that live on the planet, all the people. He states the issue clearly. We cannot tackle the climate crisis without addressing racial inequalities, and we cannot solve racial inequalities without fixing the economic system. In the service of this, Laramie argues the movement will need more Black leaders. It will need to strengthen international laws. And importantly, it will need to tear at the roots of what Laramie calls the evil notion that some lives are more important than others. Take a breath. We all need to breathe. As we seek to create the world of our dreams, that peaceful, just, and sustainable future for all life on Earth, there are important conversations that we need to have. There are critical questions we need to ask ourselves. And here's the tricky part. We don't know what we don't know. Too often, we don't know if our efforts to do right are causing more harm than good. We don't know the unintended consequences of our actions. Too often, we don't know. But rather than letting this paralyze us, we must realize we can know more, and it is incumbent upon us to do so. We don't know yet, but we can know more. We can read and watch, we can look and listen, we can learn from others, we can ask questions. We should ask a lot of questions. We can risk sounding silly or looking ill-informed. We can take a risk because the world, the future, our neighbors, our children and grandchildren are worth it. I recently had the opportunity to have tea with a longtime friend and colleague, Reverend Sarah Asher. Sarah works at World Resource Institute, WRI. She is a senior project manager for the Climate Action Team. While there are others at WRI who are focused on specific technical areas, as I understand it, Sarah focuses on how they do what they do. The people side of things, if you will. She's helping to build better systems for knowledge sharing, communication, and collaborative teamwork. As part of a global organization, she talks about the way that any energy or climate solution must be tailored to and created in collaboration with the community where it will reside. It seems obvious when we hear it, but how often do we take shortcuts due to budget, time, lack of skill, our traditions, too often hubris? Now, it's not that likely that every congregation will have a team dedicated to process, but wouldn't that be cool? But we can all, no matter what our area of focus, take time to step back and ask ourselves important questions. What else do we need to know to make a responsible decision? Is the solution we are considering appropriate to this particular situation? Or are we simply forcing something that was suitable in another time and place? Who else is impacted? Who else needs to be involved in this project, this decision? Who can we partner with to strengthen our work and theirs? One example of the way that we lose perspective is NIMBYism. NIMBY stands for Not in My Backyard. It's the process by which those with power and influence avoid living with the consequences of their decisions. Instead, they send their problems off to neighborhoods that are away. Too often to areas where Black and brown people and people with fewer financial resources make their homes. Now, most of us would like to believe we do not engage in this behavior, and perhaps we don't intentionally. Still, we would be well advised to ask, who breathes the air when our trash is incinerated? Into whose well does the waste from our power plants leach when we have sent it away? Now, it's fairly easy to find groups working at the international level addressing the inequalities and inequities of the climate emergency, its impact, and its solutions. At the local level, each community, each congregation may need to do some research to find others working in the areas of climate and race and the intersection of the two. We may find that we need to be the ones who create the space for the conversation and the collaboration. Create the space and then listen and learn. Learn what existing projects we can support, discover with whom we can collaborate, understand more clearly where and when we can bring our skills and resources, if and when invited by others. We can look to global organizations who have done important work and consider how we can scale their learnings and their models to our own. In an article from the Global Center for Adaptation titled 4 Ways Climate Change Undermines Social Justice and What We Can Do About It, they list 4 realities. The world's poor did not cause climate change, but faces its worst consequences. Climate change is making it more difficult for the poor to escape poverty. Climate change is increasing competition for scarce resources. Those who are hit hardest have the least say in how climate change is addressed. What does this look like in our community? Where can we help someone else's voice be heard? When can we be part of interrupting cycles of oppression and marginalization? Your Racial Justice Committee has committed itself to continual deepening of their understanding of the questions of how race impacts this congregation and the community. They look forward to working with you, all of you, in every aspect of your lives together. You can call on them as a resource when you are facing decisions and want to know and think more broadly. You can join them anytime in conversation and continued learning. Our values as Unitarian Universalists center on love, the kind of love that embraces our planet, all life, and all lives upon it. the kind of love that impels us to transformation. It is such transformation that allows us to truly understand our interdependence and allows us with generosity, with curiosity and respect to embrace our differences and our commonalities. Together, truly together, we can create more equity and more justice so that together, truly together, we can enjoy that world that we dream of, that world that is peaceful, just, and sustainable for all. And then, maybe then, we can all breathe a sigh of relief. Our closing hymn is number 163, For the World Forever Turning. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing. If you are comfortable, I invite you to take hands or touch the shoulder of someone near you. For the earth forever turning, for the blue-green hills of earth, may we open our hearts and our minds to the transformation that is possible for us, this community, and our world. Together, we can build a better future. Go in peace.